Jack walked into the bustling market of ZYRthal Prime, hands in his pockets, eyes scanning the bizarre assortment of alien goods. Everything from glowing fruits to squirming fabric was on display. The locals, tall and covered in iridescent scales, bustled about, exchanging currency that looked suspiciously like flattened bugs. Jack sighed. Another diplomatic mission, another round of smile, nod, and pretend you understand the customs. A hunched merchant with 6 beady eyes scurried forward, waving something shiny in front of him. Ah, off-worlder! You have such discerning taste. May I interest you in a friendship band? Jack raised an eyebrow. The bracelet was simple, metallic, sleek, glowing faintly with symbols he couldn't read. Looked harmless enough. Friendship band, huh? Yes. A mere token of goodwill. Signifies mutual respect, admiration, and lifelong. Yeah, how much? Jack cut him off. The vendor's grin widened. For you, free. Jack should have known something was off right then. Nothing in these markets was ever free. But hey, a little goodwill never hurt anyone. He shrugged and slipped the bracelet onto his wrist. It locked in with a soft click. The entire marketplace went silent. Jack blinked. Whispers. A vendor dropped a bundle of fruit. An official-looking alien gasped, turned pale green, and scurried away. A priest materialized from the shadows like he'd been waiting for this moment his entire life. And then came her. Tall, elegant, and radiating sheer panic, Princess Vlara stormed through the market, her regal robes flaring. She took one look at Jack, her gaze dropped to the bracelet, and her entire body stiffened. Her eyes darted to the vendor. Tell me that's a replica. The merchant bolted. Jack watched the guy flee like his tax crimes had just been exposed, then turned back to the increasingly furious woman. You absolute death world lunatic! Vlera's voice came out in a breathless whisper, somewhere between horror and barely contained rage. You wore the bracelet! Jack frowned. Yeah? It's kinda snug, but… Vlara visibly paled. The priest suddenly raised his arms, voice booming. By the sacred laws of ZYRthal Prime, the union is sealed. This bond, eternal and unbreakable, shall… Jack held up a hand. Whoa, hold up. What bond? Vlara grabbed his arm. What part of you wore the bracelet do you not understand? Jack glanced at it. Yeah, cool, it's a bracelet. What's the big deal? Vlara looked like she wanted to strangle him. That's not just a bracelet. It's a marriage contract. Beat of silence. Jack blinked. Come again? You're my consort now! Her voice cracked. You just bound yourself to me for life. Jack snorted. What? No way. It's just jewelry. The priest cut in, sounding deeply offended. It is not just jewelry. It is a sacred symbol of eternal partnership, unwavering devotion and… Jack held up a finger. Yeah, cool speech, but I didn't sign anything. The priest beamed. But you did. The bracelet seals the agreement upon contact. Your touch was your signature. Jack stared. So you're saying I just got alien married, by accident? Vlera's hands clenched into fists. Oh, you have no idea how deep you just stepped into it. Jack scratched the back of his head. Look, there's gotta be a way to undo this. The priest smiled kindly. Divorce, of course, is possible. Jack exhaled in relief. Great. However. Jack groaned. Of course there's a however. The priest cleared his throat. Dissolution of a ZYRthalian marriage contract requires… Vlara cut in, voice sharp as a blade. A minimum of 100 years of bureaucratic processing. Jack froze. 100 years? Vlara nodded, eyes murderous. Jack ran a hand down his face. No fast tracking? There is an expedited annulment process. Jack looked up, hopeful. Yeah? Vlara rubbed her temples. It involves a 7-day isolation bonding ritual. Silence. Jack squinted. Define bonding. Vlara gritted her teeth. It means exactly what you think it means. Jack let that sink in. Then he grinned. Huh. So I either stay married, wait a century, or we have to. Lara clapped a hand over his mouth. Not another word. A royal guard suddenly stepped forward, armored and imposing. By Zyr Arthalian law, he announced formally, you are now Princess Vlera's rightful consort. Congratulations, human. Jack slowly removed Vlera's hand from his mouth. Then he turned to her. So, do I get a wedding gift? Lara lunged for his throat. Jack barely had time to blink before a squad of royal guards grabbed him by the arms and started hauling him away. Whoa, hey! Hands off the merchandise! Vlera, walking ahead with the grace of a queen and the demeanor of someone about to have a public meltdown, didn't even turn around. Stop struggling, human! You just became the single biggest problem in my life. Jack smirked. I do that to people. They dragged him through the capital, a city of towering structures made of polished stone and glowing veins of energy. Locals stared. Some pointed. Some gasped. One alien fainted. Jack tilted his head. Is this, like, a huge scandal, or are your people just really dramatic? Lara's eye twitched. Do you have any idea what you've done? Jack sighed. Yeah, marriage contract, lifelong bond, huge inconvenience for you. But why can't we just get a space lawyer and sort this out? The priest, who had somehow kept up with them despite his frail, ancient-looking frame, made a choking noise and promptly collapsed. Jack blinked. Did he just faint? One of the guards stared at him in pure horror. You would challenge the sacred bond? Jack threw up his hands. Oh my God, I didn't even do anything yet. They reached the palace, an elaborate structure of winding corridors and ridiculous bureaucratic nonsense, where they shoved him into a grand chamber. A group of stuffy nobles in flowing robes and obnoxiously large jewelry stood in a semicircle. Jack was pretty sure at least one of them was here just to judge him. One particularly prissy-looking noble recoiled upon seeing him. This is the human. Another covered their mouth. He looks so. Jack wiggled his eyebrows. Handsome? Intimidating? Ruggedly charming? The noble's voice dropped to a horrified whisper. He eats plants and animals. Jack blinked. Yeah? That's kinda how digestion works. Another noble made a strangled noise. A carnivore and a herbivore at once? What abomination of biology is this? Jack sighed. It's called being an omnivore, Karen. Look it up. Vlera, massaging her temples, finally snapped. Enough! Enough of this! He's stuck. I'm stuck. We're all stuck. Jack pointed to himself. Hey, I never said I was stuck. I'm just waiting for someone to tell me how to take this bracelet off. The room went deathly silent. A noble stiffened. He seeks to break the bond. Jack rolled his eyes. Oh my God, yes! Obviously! The guards visibly tensed. Jack exhaled, grabbing the bracelet and attempting to tug it off. Look, I'll just... The moment he pulled, the bracelet flared with golden energy, sending a shock up his arm so strong that it sent him stumbling back into a chair. Vlera facepalmed. I cannot believe you just tried that. Jack shook his arm out. Okay. Cool. Love that for me. Great security feature. Vlera loomed over him, voice dangerously low. Do you have any idea what you've done? This contract is for life. Jack, still rubbing his wrists, frowned. Okay, so life. But whose? Yours or mine? 'Cause I'm pretty sure humans don't live that long on this rock. Vlera hissed. It applies until the oldest partner dies. Jack stared. So you're saying if I outlive you, I win? The nobles gasped. A guard dropped his weapon. The priest, who had somehow regained consciousness, promptly fainted again. Vlera, clutching her forehead, muttered something in her language that Jack was pretty sure translated to, Why me, gods? Why me? Before Jack could say anything else, one of the nobles stepped forward. "Since he is now your consort," the noble announced, "he must endure the sacred trials of worth." Jack squinted. "Wait, I have to do what now?" Jack barely had time to process the words, sacred trials, before he was dragged, again, into another massive chamber. This one was even more obnoxiously overdecorated than the last, filled with massive statues of alien warriors, elaborate ceremonial tapestries, and at least 20 scribes furiously writing down everything happening in real time. Jack scratched his head. "Is this normal for you guys, or is this just a we're overcompensating kind of thing?" One of the scribes immediately took notes. Vlara, standing beside him, groaned. "The sacred trials of worth determine if my accidental consort is fit to stand at my side." Jack smirked. "Oh, so it's like a compatibility test? You want to see if I'm boyfriend material?" Vlara's face darkened. "No. We want to see if you're not an embarrassment." Jack nodded. "Oh. Good luck with that." A booming voice echoed through the chamber. "Begin the first trial." A guard stepped forward, carrying a small, smooth black stone. "This is the Stone of Endurance. By holding it for an hour, a suitor proves his resilience." Jack took the stone. "That's it. Just hold it." "Yes. But beware, it tests the inner fortitude of one's very spirit." Jack squeezed it. The stone immediately cracked. The entire room gasped. Jack frowned. Was this important?" Vlara pinched the bridge of her nose. "That was a sacred artifact passed down for 1,000 generations." Jack winced. "Oh. I thought it was like a stress ball or something." The priest collapsed again. Jack handed the two halves of the stone back. "You can glue it, right?" The guards looked horrified. A noble whispered, "He has broken the trial." Another shook their head. "No. He has surpassed it." The booming voice returned. "The first trial is complete." Jack crossed his arms. "Well, that was easy," Vlara muttered. "I hope the next trial kills you." "What was that?" "Nothing." The priest, now conscious again, stumbled forward. "The second trial. The test of mental fortitude." A noble brought forth an intricate wooden puzzle with dozens of moving pieces. "Only the most intelligent may solve this ancient challenge." Jack looked at the puzzle. Then at the noble. Then back at the puzzle. He grinned. "All right. Let's do this the human way." 5 minutes later, he held up the completed puzzle. A noble gawked. How did you do it so fast?" Jack smirked. "Simple. I forced the pieces to fit where they didn't belong." Vlara stared at him in horror. "You brute forced an ancient test of logic." Jack shrugged. "Well, yeah? Who actually does puzzles the right way?" The nobles whispered amongst themselves. "His methods are barbaric, but strangely efficient." "Has he revolutionized our way of thinking?" The booming voice returned. "The second trial is complete." Jack leaned toward Vlara. "Tell me I'm not your best fiancé so far." Vlara looked like she wanted to throw him into orbit. The final trial was announced. "The test of compatibility." Jack stretched. "All right, what's next? A quiz? A cooking challenge?" A noble coughed. "You must perform the bonding dance." Jack blinked. "But what now?" Vlara looked physically ill. "It is a sacred courtship ritual, ensuring that we are in harmony." A scribe helpfully added, "It involves intricate body movements, intense eye contact, and synchronized breathing." Jack grinned. "Oh, you mean foreplay." The room collectively combusted. One noble choked. Another knocked over a chair. A guard dropped his sword. The priest fainted for the 4th time. Vlara's face was pure, unfiltered rage. "You cannot just say things like that." Jack winked. "Sure I can. I'm human. We say inappropriate things all the time." A ceremonial drum sounded and Jack was forced into position with Vlara. They danced. It was, somehow, The most uncomfortable tango of Jack's life. She was too stiff. He was too casual. At one point, they somehow ended up stepping on each other's feet at the same time. Jack leaned in. You know, for an ancient sacred dance, this is shockingly terrible. Vlara hissed. I hate you. Jack smirked. No, you don't. You're just mad you have to touch me. The booming voice mercifully returned. The third trial is complete. Jack stepped back. So does this mean I win? Vlara looked pained. It means you are acceptable. Jack shot her finger guns. Good enough for me. Then came the worst news of the day. A bureaucrat stepped forward, holding a stack of papers. Your bond is now officially recognized. To dissolve this union, please fill out these forms. Jack exhaled in relief. Finally. How long is the process? The bureaucrat adjusted his glasses. Approximately 100 years. Jack's smile vanished. Sorry, what? 100 years for official approval of bond dissolution. Jack stared. Vlara also stared. Jack scratched his head. Okay, what about an expedited annulment? The bureaucrat flipped through his documents. Ah, yes. Expedited annulment requires 7 days of isolation in a bonding chamber. Jack frowned. So you're telling me I have 3 options. Stay married, wait a century, or spend a week in a room with her. Vlara gritted her teeth. I'm not happy about it either. Before either of them could process it, the doors slammed open. A towering Zywirarthalian noble stormed in, robes flowing, jewelry gleaming, and an expression of absolute disgust. Jack whispered to Vlara. Friend of yours? Vlara looked like she wanted to hurl herself into the void. Lord Zenith. Jack raised an eyebrow. That the guy you were supposed to marry? Zenith spat on the ground. You, a filthy deathwelder, have stolen my bride! Jack sighed. Buddy, trust me, if I knew that bracelet meant marriage, I would have walked away. Zenith snarled. Then you will return her to me. Or... Jack perked up. Or what? Zenith's eyes gleamed. You will duel me for her hand. Jack cracked his knuckles. All right, I'm game. What kind of duel are we talking about? Fist fight? Chess? Strip poker? The room exploded into chaos. Vlara grabbed his arm. Stop talking! Jack grinned. No can do, sweetheart. I think we just found our loophole. Jack rolled his shoulders. All right, lizard man, let's get this duel started. Lord Zenith sneered. Prepare yourself, Deathwelder. Our sacred trials of combat will determine your worth. A gong sounded. A noble stepped forward, solemnly unrolling a scroll. By ancient tradition, this duel shall be a battle of culinary skill. Jack blinked. Wait. What? Vlara groaned. Oh, for the love of... Zenith clenched a fist. Yes. A test of precision, endurance, and one's ability to handle the flames. Jack raised a hand. So, just so I'm clear. I'll cook you to win. The judge nodded gravely. The rules are simple. Each challenger must prepare a dish. The one deemed most palatable shall claim victory. Jack grinned. Oh, you poor, sweet aliens. Zenith scoffed. You believe you can best me in the culinary arts, human? Zywirarthalian cuisine is the epitome of refinement. Jack looked at Zenith's ingredients. They were all gray. Everything. The vegetables. The meats. Even the spices. Jack glanced at his own side. He had a single pack of emergency rations and a handful of jalapenos. This wasn't a cooking contest. This was a massacre. The gong rang again. Begin! Zenith worked furiously, his hands a blur as he carefully assembled a flawless, artistically plated, completely bland dish. Jack? Jack made a taco. The noble judges inspected both dishes. Zenith's dish was elegant, dignified, culturally significant. Jack's taco? It smelled good. Too good. A judge took a bite. Then froze. Their pupils dilated. Their entire body trembled. The other nobles gasped. What is this flavor? Jack shrugged. Oh, just a little thing humans like to call seasoning. Zineth snarled. What trickery is this? Jack held up a jalapeno. Taste it and find out. Zineth scoffed. Ha! Your pitiful human plants hold no power over me. He took a bite. Silence. Then his eyes widened. His breathing hitched. A single bead of sweat formed on his forehead. Then collapse. The judges panicked. He has fallen. The spice has struck down a noble. Deathworld cuisine is too strong. The booming voice returned. The winner is the human. Jack clapped his hands. Welp. Guess that settles that. Vlara stared. You just defeated an aristocrat, with food. Jack winked. Technically, he defeated himself. Then came the real problem. A bureaucrat stepped forward. By our laws, Lord Zineth's loss makes your marriage even more legally binding. Jack froze. Wait, what? The bureaucrat adjusted his glasses. You have proven your worth. Lady Vlara is no longer required to wed a noble. Your victory has elevated your status. Jack blinked. So let me get this straight. I just won my wife, in a cooking contest? Vlara exhaled slowly. Yes. And I hate that I find it attractive. Jack grinned. You're into me. Vlara crossed her arms. I will throw you off this balcony. Jack wiggled his eyebrows. Oh, so now we're role-playing. Kinky. A scribe fainted. Before Vlara could strangle him, the bracelet on Jack's wrist suddenly clicked. Then, it fell off. Jack and Vlara stared. What just happened? A nearby merchant coughed. Ah. Yes. Well. Funny story, turns out, that was just a promotional bracelet. Jack and Vlara turned to glare at him. The merchant smiled. Yes, not actually legally binding. Just a marketing gimmick. But good news. We have a deluxe version available for only 19.99 credits. Jack and Vlara didn't move. The merchant sweated. Would you like to buy one? Vlara slowly exhaled. Then why did we go through all of that? The merchant shrugged. You looked like you were having fun? Jack covered his mouth, trying not to laugh. Vlara? You okay? Vlara turned to the nearest bureaucrat. I demand immediate retribution. The bureaucrat flipped through his paperwork. That process will take approximately. Jack grabbed her wrist. Come on. Let's get dinner. My treat. Vlara sighed. If you think this makes up for all of this nonsense. Jack smirked. Oh no, I just figured since I already won you in a cooking contest, might as well see if you're worth keeping. Vlara groaned. You are insufferable. Jack winked. Yeah, but you're still here. Vlara muttered something deeply unflattering in her native tongue. As they walked away, a bureaucrat muttered to himself. Wait. There was a paperwork error. Another official looked over his shoulder. What do you mean? The bureaucrat frowned. This whole thing was never officially recorded. So you're saying? None of it was valid. A long pause. The bureaucrat looked at Jack and Vlara, now arguing over dinner options. Best not to tell them. And with that, the camera faded to black.